Hey everyone, welcome to another monthly Q&A video. I posted on the community tab of the YouTube channel for you guys to ask questions and I'll be answering them here in this video. Now keep in mind I did post for questions like 2 days before when Bastion was announced to be released, so a lot of these questions might be a tiny bit dated, but I'll try to adapt them to be more in line with the new season already being released. For example, question 1. This one comes from Max Rand asking, based off the TTS, do you think Wind Bastion will be better than Grimsky/Chimera? So since Wind Bastion's already been out for almost a week now, I can answer this a little more concretely. Overall, I find Wind Bastion's effect on the meta has been, in my opinion, pretty subpar. I thought it would be pretty meta changing, but it's kind of been the same thing. The only thing that's a little more dangerous now is roaming, but a lot of people who play Nomad aren't really good at putting down her gadgets in creative spots that will actually be used properly, at least from what I've found. I think in the week that the operators have been out, I've only been knocked back by one air jab. Most of the time, they're put in really shitty spots where I can see them and I just destroy them. And then Cade hasn't been too strong besides his shotgun. A lot of people are really good at using it and can just destroy you. It's basically a DMR on defense. But overall, compared to Grimsky and Chimera, I would say this season is a lot better because, well, the operators aren't fucking broken. Grimsky, we had the issue with Clash just not being a fun operator to face against and also being a little overpowered because she could be a one-man army. And then we also had Maverick, whose blowtorch is still pretty broken, but Ubisoft hasn't fixed it. And then if we go to Chimera, that's just nothing will be worse than Chimera. The only way they could possibly make an operator worse than Lion is if they made one where you just push your gadget and someone on the enemy team randomly dies. That's the only possible way anything could be worse than Chimera. So already it's better than Chimera. I'd say overall better than Grimsky, but I wouldn't say it's better than Parabellum. This overall year has been kind of shit compared to the previous ones. There have never really been many issues in the previous years. It's just this one has kind of been up and down. So overall, I'd rank them Parabellum number 1, Wind Bastion number 2, Grimsky number 3, and then Chimera, if I could, all the way at the bottom at like number 20, even though there's only 4 seasons. Next question from Sour Pickle. Should Recruit get a special ability like for defense Recruit gets an ammo box? Just off the bat, I'd say no. I think Recruit should actually be completely taken out of the game. They really don't serve much of a purpose besides memeing. But overall, memeing is fun, so I can see why they'd be wanted there. Recruits were only added to this game, a lot of you don't know, because if you AFK'd, you would automatically get a Recruit. That was changed last season. And then before that, way back when, most people would start off the game with only having Recruit. Now all the base operators are unlocked by default as long as you don't buy the shitty starter edition, so Recruit really doesn't have a place anymore. It's kind of just there as a legacy. And the whole point of Recruit is that it's not supposed to be a good operator. A lot of people are saying we should be able to add attachments to Recruit and stuff like that. That would just completely destroy the balance of the game. Imagine having Bandit and then 4 recruits all running MP7 with attachments. Defense would just be fucking crazy strong. There's no reason that Recruit should have anything changed to them. They should be shittier than a normal operator. The only thing that I'd maybe change is that Recruit should get 2 reinforcements instead of 1, but that can also be a balancing thing. They don't want to give recruits too many advantages. Because a lot of people already can choose them, or at least did choose them back in the day for shields on attack or MP7 on defense. So you don't want to give them too many advantages. You want to make them mainly all negatives, that way people choose actual operators. Next question from David. Will you ever do a Minecraft survival series with Drew, Rob, and Doggo? Minecraft is something that me and my friends sometimes go back into like once every 2 years. We'll just rent out a server for like 1 or 2 weeks, go ham, play on it every single day, and then just take another 2 or 3 year break sometimes. So I could definitely see me and my friends playing it sometime soon. If it's something that a lot of people would actually be genuinely interested in, then we could do it, but I feel like the fad has kind of died down. If we ever did do it, I'd probably do something like Tech It, which is a mod pack with a bunch of technological upgrades and mods. I don't know if we would ever do the basic Minecraft survival. Like, it's pretty boring after like a week, max. Question from Tyler Levine. What do you think about a potential Tachanka rework? Would you want a rework, or would you rather have him stay as he is? I don't think anyone really thinks Tachanka should stay the way he is. Everyone knows that he's just a meme at this point. And overall, I've mentioned this a lot before on other videos, not really in a Q&A, but having a meme operator is not really a good selling point for Siege. A lot of people think it's really funny, but when a new player joins this game and then they are like, oh, someone with a turret, this seems awesome, and they just keep getting shit on, they're gonna be like, why is this operator in the game? He seems garbage, and then possibly quit it. And then all these memes about him might be a good starting point for some people to see the game, but others will just see it as, oh, this is a game that they don't really take too seriously. I think it puts more harm on the game than good. So overall, yes, I would like to see a Tachanka rework because, well, he's shit. He's garbage. Everyone knows he is. I don't really know exactly what I'd want for his rework. I think he should just completely be changed overall, absolutely have nothing to do with his former self. That way they can get a complete fresh start on him, but I think that is something that they will never do because I know a lot of people in the community would make way too much uproar about that even though no one uses Tachanka. Next question from Smartaz asking, how do you deal with pressure when you have to clutch a game that determines if you win or lose? This one's kind of hard to answer because it's kind of something that just happens naturally. I don't really put too much thought into it. When I'm in the moment, I don't really think about it. But thinking back on it, the one thing that I always realize I tell myself is, well, on the last one, I either have to give it my all and maybe win, or just completely give up and guaranteed lose. So even if you die without killing a single person, at least you tried. You did something. The way I see it is the same as like when you were a kid and someone said, ask your mom. If you don't ask her, it's a no guaranteed. If you ask her, there's a slight chance of a yes. Same thing as clutching a game. Try, there's a slight chance you'll win. Most likely is a no, but if you don't try at all, it's a guaranteed no. Question from Jacob M, which has been asked a decent amount before, but I'm going to quickly answer. Will you ever go pro or would you want to go pro? 1, no, I would never want to go pro. 2, I will never go pro because not really good enough, and also I would lose so much money if I did. The amount of money that pro players make kind of pales in comparison to what content creators make. Not trying to like flex or anything, but just kind of how it is. You'll notice that a lot of pro players will also stream or make videos on the side. That way they can make some more money. Generally also has to do with the fact that they will not make as much money as they need to live off of just Pro League. Obviously, I don't know the hard numbers to back it up of exactly how much they make, but I know it is generally a lot less than what content creation makes. Next question from Unicorn Puncher 99. I'm finding myself getting bored with Siege and being less interested in playing it even with the new season. I'm basically asking for suggestions on how to make it more interesting. I kind of found myself in the same boat about 3 or 4 seasons ago where I was going ham every single season trying to stay in Diamond and kind of thinking that my reputation was on the line if I didn't have Diamond. And then I kind of reevaluated, noticed that I was putting way too much pressure on myself for something that really does not matter, and just decided, fuck it, I want to play in the lower ranks and not try as hard every single match. So what I've done recently is I've half intentionally, half not intentionally kind of deranked a bit. Last season I played the entire season in Plat 3, Plat 2, and at the very end a little bit of Plat 1, and it was way more enjoyable than going try hard for Diamond and staying there the entire time. This season so far, I've been pretty much only in Gold and like one time in Plat, and I'm still enjoying it a lot more myself. There's a little bit more toxicity, but I can kind of run any operator I want, and I have a chance of still winning, as opposed to in Diamond, where if I want to run Ella Shotgun, I'm going to guarantee to get one tapped across the map from someone who's droning me out super intently. Whereas in the lower ranks, people are a little more dumb, so you can kind of play around with them, and it's a lot more fun. So my suggestion to make the game a little more interesting is to not take it as seriously. Just do whatever you want, have some fun, and you'll realize the game's actually a lot more fun when you don't care about winning or losing. Next question from It's a Mao. I'm assuming this is to be, how do you feel about Mute's new SMG 11? I talked about this in the patch notes, and I said that it was a pretty stupid change. Overall, I'm still kind of torn on it. I agree that Mute did need something to help him, because as he stands, he's an underpicked and underpowered operator, but I would say going the SMG 11 route is the wrong way to go, because that indirectly buffs both Sledge and Smoke, since they also reduce the recoil on the SMG 11 so that Mute could have more power. I think what they should have done instead was just increase the damage output on the MP5K, and maybe increase its fire rate a tiny bit, something like that, but I'm not entirely sold on the SMG 11 being the route to go. Only because I did really love when they nerfed the SMG sidearms on all the operators and made them borderline useless, because that's how they should be. And now they're just kind of slowly reverting all those changes and then now giving them to more operators. That's not fun for me. I hope they do revert that, or at least nerf the SMG 11 again so it's still borderline useless. Next question from Guessing Guy. Do you agree with Bikini Body's idea of having a pool of 10 reinforcements instead of 2 per person? This is actually an idea that's been tossed around for like the last 2 years. I'm pretty sure Kickstarter was the very first one from my memory that posted this and talked about this. But I'm assuming Bikini Body just brought up the idea again on Reddit. Anyways, overall, the idea kind of has some merit to it because it would make it a lot easier for roamers to leave and roam while the anchors just reinforce everything. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this, at least in the lower levels, because imagine a new player joins and then they just start reinforcing between site, and then they use like 4 or 5 reinforcements just to reinforce between site, and they think it's a good idea. Now keep in mind, the other teammates are probably going to run off roaming because they just assume that the people on site are going to know how to reinforce. I think this idea works in theory on a group of people who actually know how to play the game, but then the lower you go in ranks, the more prone to issues it is. So I'd say this would be a more solid idea for something like Pro League as opposed to in general ranked. And as it stands, I actually kind of like it that everyone has 2 reinforcements because it actually forces teammate communication, everyone to take part of the reinforcement period. Whenever a teammate runs off and does their own thing, it actually kind of fucks your team over. And that's what this game is. It's a team-based game. It's not a individual-based game. If I wanted to play a game that was meant to be played by yourself, I'd go play Battlefield or something. This is a team game. Work as a team. Question from Mario Mendoza. Will you ever upload Smite content? For those of you who don't know, Smite is a MOBA game that me and my friends sometimes play on PC. You'll sometimes hear us talking about it in videos whenever we're talking about like gods or, I don't know, just general MOBA stuff. That's what we're talking about. To answer your question, no. I'm not planning on uploading anything because the thing with MOBAs is it requires a lot of game knowledge to actually understand what's going on. So it's not something that a lot of people want to watch that are outside of the Smite community. Whereas I could upload something like Deceit, where not everyone's going to understand what's going on, but they can easily pick it up and enjoy the content. Whereas someone coming to my channel looking at Siege and then seeing me upload a pentakill on Smite, they're going to be like, what the fuck is this? I don't understand what I'm looking at. So no, it wouldn't do well on the channel, and also it's something that I wouldn't really enjoy recording. I'd rather just kind of enjoy it on my own. Suggestion from Peep, talking about a castle buff, which has been mentioned around the subreddit a decent amount, but it is to make it so drones can't go underneath the castle barricades, but there's enough room for echo drones to go under. This has been talked about a lot, but my overall thought on it is no, I don't really like that idea. Castle barricades are meant to be a two-way thing. It helps the defenders, but it can also hurt them. Castle barricades aren't meant to be a one-man army type thing. It's not supposed to be the jack of all trades and stop everything. It's supposed to be comboed with other people, either putting down barbed wire and banditing it or cating it, or putting down a mute jammer right next to the castle barricade so drones can't get through. Making gadgets do everything on their own is a dangerous precedent to set because it sets for a lot of power creep. Later on, when newer operators are added, they have to think, okay, it needs to do exactly what other operators do, and better, or equivalent to. And overall, Castle, I think, is in a fine position. His issue isn't being droned out. The issue is how many gadgets can counter his gadget. There are too many explosive stuff or things that can destroy castle barricades. It makes him somewhat more useless when... It makes him borderline useless when 9 times out of 10 the attacking team will have an operator that can just destroy his castle panels right away. And speaking of which, the reason why castle also has a little lip at the bottom is so if someone's putting down a breach charge on the door, you can easily shoot their feet while they're doing it and kill them. It's one of the many benefits of having it open. But yeah, I would just say no. I don't like this idea because the whole point of castle is to be comboed with someone else, not for him to do everything on his own. Question from Grimsky, how do you think they should nerf the 44 mag, which is the pistol for Nomad and Cade? So they did do a small nerf on the TTS before it went live that the pistol has a bit more recoil. It's still fairly usable and incredibly strong. The only thing I could really say that they would do to nerf it would be to kind of give it the old Deagle treatment, where one shot and your aim just went straight to the fucking roof. I'd say really that's the only big change they can make. They just gotta add a shit ton of recoil on it. You shouldn't be able to easily two-shot someone with a pistol with a sniper scope. Alright, and this is going to be the last question of the video from Not Mr. Clean. What do you think of the nerfs to Nomad and Cade? Are they too much, too early, or unexpected? This is referring to the TTS nerfs where Nomad lost the ability for her gadgets to deploy mid-air, and they took 1.5 seconds to activate once landing. And then the nerf to Cade where he lost one of his Electro Claws from 3 to 2. I would say this is probably one of the best things that Ubisoft has done recently because one of their big issues, at least in the last year, was not making changes on the TTS. The whole point of the test server is for people to test if something's overpowered or broken, as well as other bug fixes. And in the past year, they never made a single change to operators that was actually significant. They would make small damage changes or loadout changes, and that's it. But they never really tweaked overall gadgets. So it's a good change to see from Ubisoft, especially considering that for so long this year, pros have complained that Ubisoft is not listening to them or any of their feedback, and they just say, whatever, we'll deal with it later. So it's good to see Ubisoft actually take a proactive charge on this and make changes before operators go live. Because it made a lot of us feel like Ubisoft was just shelling out overpowered operators just to sell their season passes and then nerfing them after people have already bought the season pass or operator. But now that they're actually nerfing them before they come out and making sure they're not too overpowered, it makes them look like they care a lot more about the actual game instead of just pure profits. Which, before people complain, I know Ubisoft is a company, they're here to make money. It still is nice to know that they're putting their customers first. Now that's it for the questions. Before I do the sign off, I did just want to quickly let you guys know we have a merch store. If you guys are interested in picking up any of the designs on there, link to that is down below. We have a new design on there for the holiday season, which is a frosty winter. Go check it out. I think it's really adorable. You can go pick up one for yourself on Teespring. I tried to make all the prices as cheap as possible because this is not about making a profit. This is about getting you guys something that you actually want to wear. And we do have some other designs on there if you're interested. And with that, we'll conclude today's Q&A video. Thank you guys for all your questions. As always, I will be answering more questions at the beginning of next month. I had planned on uploading this video almost a week ago, but since when Bastion kind of came out of nowhere, we were given less than 24-hour notice that it was being launched. I decided to just kind of put this in the back burner and prioritize new content before that because a lot more people were waiting and interested in Win Bastion content as opposed to a Q&A. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next month in the Q&A. Take care.